I borrowed a sound system from Dan. I went and did a gig. It's still in my car. I meant to take it back today and I forgot. I don't know why that's interesting to everybody. It's not. It's not interesting.
What kind of sound system is it?
It's this brilliant sound system by Bose that we tested. Like we were the guinea pigs for this sound system. It's the L1 system. So they now have like newer versions of this sound system for performance.
Uh-huh.
And what it is it's a big pole, like 6 or 7 feet tall,
right,
with a linear array of small speakers.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a bass unit that's separate.
Uh-huh.
So that handles everything below, I don't know what frequency is, 200 or something like that.
Okay.
And probably higher than that. But the bass units are pretty substantial. They're heavy, square speakers, And the linear array handles all the mids and all the highs.
Right.
And what's interesting is you can take one and put it right behind a microphone and it won't feed back.
Wow.
Because only one of those speakers is really pointed at that mic. Whereas ordinarily you would have a single big cone and it would be pointed generally at the mic. Only one of them is going to take off and it doesn't. So the feedback doesn't get going, right? The loop doesn't get started unless you take them and put them really close together, and then it will. But that means you can have the pole behind you while you're playing.
Right.
And it spreads out in a fan instead of a cone.
Right.
So it spreads out side to side, but it doesn't reflect up or down. So you get a lot less in the way of distortion, wave distortion from the ceiling and the floor when you're doing sound. So it sounds really clear. And you, as a performer, hear exactly what the audience is hearing. That's actually a big deal.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's ridiculous. Because I remember when it first came out. I remember when you were testing this thing.
Yeah.
And it was pretty gosh darn impressive.
It almost sounded too clean. Well, I remember the band was like, "This doesn't sound right. It's supposed to be muddy. That's not rock and roll."
Right. And it's supposed to be like a lot of like slapback echoes that confuse everybody and throw us off rhythm. And
What's going on?
What's going on here? This sucks.
So my performance is so much better through it. If I could, I would only ever play through it. It's brilliant. And we have, because we were, the testing band, we got a big deal on 3 of them. So we have 3. If we ever need to set up 3 of them.
Do you ever need to set up 3 of them? I mean,
it would take a big room. For 3, it would take a big room.
Right.
I mean, the original philosophy behind it would be that each instrument would have one. And it would redefine the idea of stereo space, because the bass is coming from that direction and the drums are coming, the drum vocals are coming from that direction, the guitar is coming from that direction. Instead of trying to then recreate that with 2 speakers, you just have a speaker at the source.
Yeah. It just eliminates so much nonsense that you had to put up with when you're talking about like tilting amps and miking amps and mics here and mics there and feedback and ridiculous.
So the L1, it's underappreciated, and can you actually, who actually started the movement of using linear arrays in live concert performances?
The Grateful Dead, right?
The Grateful Dead.
Yeah, the big wall of sound thing that they developed mainly. And who's the guy who did it for them?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the guy who started the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Oh.
It was like drug money. I'm probably like horribly mangling this. I'm
right.
We're
going to be hearing from some lawyers.
Yeah, but I watched that whole thing. Long Strange Trip. I watched that documentary after we had that interview with the guy about the Grateful Dead.
And, Chris.
Yeah, and that's one of the things they talked about was this guy who started John Perry Barlow. No. That's the guy who wrote the lyrics for that.
No, the Electronic Frontier Foundation.
Who started that? EFF.
Boy, it's not Tim Berners-Lee because he invented email. No, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it.
Whatever. But anyway, yeah, they spent a lot. And that's what they found out, that the way to get the best sound was to stack speakers really high. Yeah. That's the thing to do. Stack them really high. Don't stack them necessarily very wide, but stack them high and higher and higher.
That's right. And and if you have balconies in a theater, you've got a problem with these speakers, with the L1s, because you can literally be in the orchestra and hear everything just fine, and be on the balcony and not hear anything at all.
Huh.
The sound doesn't reflect up,
Right.
and that's the weakness. You need to have a kind of vertical arc of speakers if you're going to be projecting down or up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're all on the level, which you usually are if the stage isn't above your head, then they're great. I mean, in some ways, they're just really perfect for a small venue.
If I remember correctly, I was talking because I think one of your guys worked at Bose.
Yeah, Jesse Flack used to work at
Jesse
Bose.
Flack. And what he told us, if I remember this correctly, was that like all this audio stuff is just a way for Bose to make money.
That's right.
What he's really interested in and what they were developing at that time was a new suspension system for cars.
Mm-hmm.
Such that you never feel anything. There's no road noise at all, because basically what you have is the cars are riding on speaker cones. Instead of like shock absorbers, you basically have these electromagnets, and the car can sense when you're going over a bump and automatically adjust the wheels. So your car never moves. Like your car never goes up or down. The wheels just go up and down because it's a perfect suspension system, because it's using it's using some kind of detection system. And then the electromagnets automatically raise and lower the wheels, and it's based upon speaker technology. And that's what they were really interested in doing. And I think he said it's really spooky driving in a car that has one of these. Because there's a pothole and you don't even know it. You just go sailing over stuff,
and your wheels go blah, blah, blah.
Anyway, I think now that we've shaken out the weak hands in our audience. Now that they're gone. Okay, they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something interesting.
Right, now we can get down to business. I sent out for my CDs. My album drops in 2 days. And everything's going swimmingly. I had a bunch of business cards printed, which I haven't had done in a while, to cover the record, things to hand out. Going to a music convention, I'm going to be handing out cards and glad handing and smiling and playing
in the flesh.
4 showcases. So this is the Northeast Regional Folk Music Convention.
Oh.
So maybe I will land a couple of gigs. Who knows?
Good.
Yeah.
This is where, in Boston?
It's in Albany, New York, as a matter of fact.
Albany, New York.
Albany, almost all the way to Syracuse.
Wow.
Minus 250 miles. You could walk it.
If you live forever. Right. Yeah. And you walk really fast.
Not. Yeah. Well, we did bike it pretty much. I mean, right. We almost would have, that was our, 80-mile bike. Yeah.
I didn't. You got a little closer to going, but
you were pretty
went from Schenectady to Utica.
You're right. Not all the way to Syracuse. You're right.
And not all the way to Albany.
Utica. And right. Not all the way to Albany.
We were already, Schenectady's at least a half an hour out of Albany, if not a little more. And we were at least, and Utica's like an hour at least from, but still. Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, we did it anyway. Just round. It's just a rounding thing. Just round it up. We did it. We biked the whole thing. We did it. So which of the Wim Wenders films did you watch?
Yeah, so this was the assignment.
Yes, homework. To
watch 2 Wim Wenders films. One Perfect Days and the other Anselm. Am I remembering that name right? Anselm.
Anselm Kiefer.
Right.
Anselm. Did you watch Anselm?
I did. I watched both of them. I did not go back and rewatch Paris, Texas. I didn't have time for that.
Or Wings of Desire.
No. Okay,
so we're just talking about Anselm and Perfect Days.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Perfect Days. This is a movie that just it in a lot of ways stays with you.
Yes,
it's funny. That movie, and this is my 45-second, my 10-second review. It made me want to clean the toilet.
Yeah. That's why you don't work at Variety magazine.
That's right. Says Jim Infantino of No Place Special. It made me want to clean the toilet.
Yeah, we're not going to lead with that one. Yeah.
That movie takes place in Tokyo. It follows a public toilet janitor in from one day to another. And
that's it.
And that's
the movie.
Pretty much it. Now, I'm not, when I was told about this movie, I was told that nothing else happens. And I'm here to say that's not entirely true. Other things happen. Yeah.
Everything happens. If you're like him, everything is happening.
Everything is happening. He is.
What was it? Was it Tomorrow's Tomorrow? No, Later is Later. Now
Later is Later.
Yeah.
Later. Sorry. Yeah. What is it? Yeah. Later is Later.
Or something like Next Time is Next Time.
Yeah. Next time is Next Time. Now is Now. Yeah. Yeah. That's a wonderful. The biking scene. The drinking scene when he's biking home drunk, and the camera just does that thing that your eyes will do if you've drunk too much and gotten on a bicycle. It's hard to describe why this movie is so awesome, because you can't point to any action precisely. And I'm blanking on the main character's name. I should have.
Oh no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I tried to remember it. Actually, I was admit no, I can't. But you were saying it opens with a shot of him on his futon in his meticulously cleaned place, with a room full of, like, an area of his very small home is full of bonsai trees, and the kitchen is downstairs, such as it is. Kitchen also, I don't know, kitchen and bathroom, I can't tell. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he sleeps on a very, like, a thin futon on a tatami mat, and then I think one or two pillows. And you catch him as the sun is not quite come up and he's waking up. And you see him kind of get ready for the day and to water the little trees.
Right.
And go outside and look at the sky. Yeah. And I think that moment when he looks up at the sky and smiles, that's where the movie really starts for me. Something about the way he does that. The actor's so brilliant.
Yeah. It's kind of impossible to really talk about this film in some way, because, what I thought what surprised me was when a character pulls out a cell phone. Yes. Because you're like, hold a second, I thought this was taking place in like 1992. Mm-hmm. And then you realize it's such a weird film in some ways because it's so normal. As I said to you in the email I sent to you, it's just when you travel to a different place, you learn something about that place, but you learn a lot about the place that you came from. And you don't realize how completely saturated and homogenous and formulaic the films are you watch until you watch a film like this. And you're like, yeah, this is really weird. This film feels really, really weird. Yeah. And it's because it avoids a lot of things. Like, he's not an ascetic. It's not like he's a monk. I mean, It's a nice apartment, and it's clean, and he has books, and he has music.
But it's in a slum. It's like the bad part of town.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I think
there's a moment later in the film where someone he used to know finds out where he's living, and they're very dismayed.
Yeah, but I mean, they're coming from a very, 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 very high tier society. I don't think it's a slum. I think I think the key feeling about it, and also the way he maintains his living quarters, they're clean, but they're not pristine. No, and you're right. They're not cutesy pootsy, and it's not precious. There's nothing precious in this film, and there's nothing condescending, and there's nothing obsessive. It's just, you can tell, and that's what I love. I love artists like this. I love artists where it feels completely okay, and it feels completely unartificial. And then you realize it is so, like, such an enormous amount of attention went into each scene, right, and setting the thing up, because you realize it's not perfect, but it's perfectly not perfect. I mean, it's hard to explain. You just got to watch it, and it's beautiful. And
it's a gorgeous film.
The filming is just fabulous, and nothing fancy. It's not Lawrence of Arabia. Okay, it's nothing of that sort. But it's really interesting when you watch that. And I watched 2 other films by Wim Wenders, which was Paris, Texas, which I really think is worth a rewatch, and Wings of Desire, which originally
you saw both of those too.
The Sky Over Berlin or something like that. And there's some things about Paris, Texas, and Wings Over Berlin that really made me want to throw the remote at the TV, but not because of the beauty, the visual beauty. And also the other thing I found fascinating was the absolute obsessive attention to natural sound.
You mentioned that in the email that you sent me about this, and it's something that I think I overlooked when I was watching it. This is a movie you could watch multiple times. And surprisingly, it's not because anything's really happening in it. It's a man. He doesn't have, it turns out he does have a cell phone, but it's a flip phone, and he only uses it like when he has to for business. Mm-hmm. I think it's always in his truck, maybe. Oh, one of the things I loved was his ritual was like the sameness of his day ritual.
Oh yeah, I love the vending
every day.
Machine. I love
the same. The vending machine he gets, and it's always the same. Whatever it is, caffeinated pop drink or whatever they drink in the morning in Japan. Like maybe it's some kind of coffee. You don't know. You can't see the label, but he like loves that when he just guzzles it down, and he's like, yeah. Then he puts the whole thing about cassettes and cassette culture in Tokyo. The value of a vintage cassette that is still playable is beautiful, I thought. And he just has, when you look at his home later, you realize, all along the floor in a low shelf are just hundreds of cassettes.
And books. Yeah, books and
books.
Yeah. It's a fascinating film because the good thing it does, to a certain degree, it almost felt like a meditative session, like watching the film, because we're so conditioned by films like, okay, something bad's going to happen now, or there's going to be some clash of wills, or
he'll be disappointed when, yes,
and there's going to be some horrible thing revealed in his past. And spoiler alert, none of that happens.
No,
not really.
Things happen, but it's not really like that.
But they're very, very muted. And they're very humble. I mean, humble is a really sort of a key adjective for the entire film, which is that it's just a day in the life, but it is Wim Wenders' attention to the natural sounds, stuff like that, I think is reflected in the main character's attention to the pattern of the trees and how the sun is stuff, and also his absolute obsessive attention. Like I said, the first shot, it's a shot of just before dawn over Tokyo, and you hear that unmistakable sound of a city waking up. You can hear the traffic in the back. The traffic is just starting to get started, and it's such a tone. It's such a note on an instrument, and it was immediately he just plays that sound, and you know exactly what this is. It's a city waking up, and then the sound of the broom.
The woman with the broom on the sidewalk, sweeping the sidewalk, which is, I don't know. It just seems like another key element in the film. And you realize also that Hirayama is the main character. He doesn't have an alarm clock. He wakes up to the sound of the city waking up.
Yeah.
So and he loves Tokyo so much. You get that sense when he's driving around and the look on his face. The actor, Koji Yakusho, is unbelievably good, just so expressive. And I'm gushing over the film. It's a very worthy watch.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a visit. And that's another thing about Wenders, especially if you watch Wings of Desire. Not in Anselm.
No,
not as
a very different film.
But in Wings of Desire, really obsessive attention to faces of just
Right.
people and how characters reflected in the face. I mean, obsessive attention to faces, and that's why you have Wings Over Berlin is primarily three actors, but it's this one guy, I think Bruno Ganz, and it's just it's really tough to have a camera stuck in your face like really close up
Yeah. Yeah.
and not say anything. You're just listening. You're listening to somebody talk, and the camera's showing the reaction on somebody's face for like 2 full minutes. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. So what did you think of the movie Anselm, and what did you think of Anselm Kiefer and where he's coming from?
It's a fascinating film and a fascinating artist, and I had never heard of him. Mm-hmm. I didn't quite understand how the vastness of his work. How could one human being?
That's what I was like.
Do all that?
I'm such a loser.
Oh, he has, what is it, like 2 or 3 giant complexes that not only house his art, but are his art.
Yeah.
And his focus is on Lilith, the supposed first wife of Adam, and on the Holocaust and Nazi Germany, and violence and decay. The book that he brings out,
Paul Celan, the poetry of Paul Celan.
Oh, so yeah, that's featured prominently, but he brings out his book on Martin Heidegger's brain tumor.
Oh my God.
That's a
and the pages just turn black.
The final pages are like not only black, but like
tarred,
burnt. And tar, and and then he gives you the narrative like this. And at this point, Martin Heidegger's brain was 1/2 full of the tumor, and it's like wrenching stuff.
Right. And there's this whole discussion of Heidegger about how Anselm Kiefer might have been able to visit Heidegger, but never did. But, he wanted to talk to Heidegger about his supposed, at least acquiescence to the Nazi regime. Did you check out the Wikipedia entry for Anselm Kiefer?
I meant to do that today before I talked to you, but the day got away from me.
Yeah, he's, it's very interesting to read. He's one of those guys who sort of confronted the Nazi past head on in a nation that understandably just wanted to forget it. And he's very controversial, Anselm Kiefer. And as mentioned in the movie, one of the early things he did was put on his father's Wehrmacht uniform and take pictures of himself standing in various places doing the fascist salute, which was illegal.
Yep.
Which was barred by German law for obvious reasons. And his feeling is, you notice in the interviews with him, he's not like, I'm trying to confront our past. He doesn't put it that way.
No.
He's very, he's very elusive.
He's also, and I don't know if you noticed this, he's also meticulously well-dressed. Even though sometimes he's in work clothes, everything he chooses to wear is kind of gorgeous. The large trench coat, the way the tweed jacket is cut, where it's large enough that he could work in it.
And his grooming is
definitely
takes care of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you understand why I'm saying my next man cave has to have a scissors lift, because it doesn't have because I'm telling you. You want to talk about man caves? Forget about America.
He's got all the man caves.
Anselm Kiefer makes all these man caves. All these creative cribs look like
amateurs.
Worthless crap.
Amateurs.
Amateurs.
I'm going to go check on the rice that I'm making. I'll be right back.
Okay. While Jim's out, I'm going to sing you a song. I have a lovely bunch of coconuts. I don't even know how the tune works. I'm sort of singing to the tune of I'm getting married in the morning. I'm getting married in the morning. Ding dong, the bells are going to ring. Blah, blah. Shh, here he comes. Here he comes. Shh. Yeah, and so when you see how Wenders is filming that, I mean, obviously you can see a lot of things with Perfect Days.
Yeah.
Following him around, like the tracking shots, just tracking this person as he moves through a warehouse on a bicycle, just tracking the person. Again, that obsessive attention to the beautiful environment to be filmed. They're not pristine, but you can tell a lot of care has been allowed. There's no really, you got to check out Wings Over Berlin, because there's scenes where it's supposedly like you said, sometimes they're lesser parts, but rundown neighborhoods. But you and I have been through rundown neighborhoods. They don't look like rundown neighborhoods in Wim Wenders films.
Right.
I mean, you can tell that there's been and there will sometimes be like newspapers blowing by, but you can tell that somebody spent a lot of time figuring out exactly how large the piece of newsprint's going to be and how fast the fan's going to be blowing when that piece of newspaper goes through it. And there's nothing else in that shot. I can't explain it, but it's sort of like. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but one of my favorite artists of all time from San Antonio was Chuck Ramirez, who was an artist. I don't know if I've ever talked about Chuck Ramirez before. No. Absolutely worth checking out. Absolutely worth checking out. And he was a photographer. He was a photographer on the staff of the big Texas grocery chain, H-E-B.
Right.
In Texas, you shop at H-E-B. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of Trader Joe's and there's maybe a Wegmans or a Whole Foods, but there's no Acme, there's no Shop and Bag, there's no top friendly markets. It's H-E-B. And Chuck Ramirez was the photographer. So he photographed food all day for them. And then he started making these. I could spend all day talking about Chuck Ramirez, but one of the things he had these, and he did series of photographs. They all had a theme. They were like a collection, like 12 episodes of photographs. He had this one that were all about meals, and like one of them was Super Bowl Sunday, and what it was the table of the food table at the end of a Super Bowl game. So you have like cigarette butts stubbed out inside a thing, and there's salsa dripping off the side of the bottle, and there's open wrappers of tortillas, and there's some fries here, and there's some Cheetos over there, and stuff like that. And you look at it, and it looks like complete chaos, and you're like, why am I looking at this photograph? And then you realize over time that it is meticulously put together. It's like a Dutch still life from the 1600s.
Let's see. This one's called Tex-Mex.
Yeah, the Tex-Mex is one of them. Super Bowl Sunday, Randy's birthday, or something like that. They're hilarious. He has a wicked sense of humor, and there's something intensely gross about them. He does something with the color, like they look really unappetizing. In a weird way. They have this weird sort of washed out color palette. But they're fascinating because of that. And then you look at them, they look like complete chaos, and you realize it's very carefully put together. Like food slop. Like when you see it. That's not what's happening in those pictures. Somebody spent an enormous amount of time. And I get the same feeling with Wim Wenders that, an enormous amount of time is spent on every shot. And it has that certain veneer of it that sort of clicks with something in your brain. It's very odd, and it's very, I'm not going to say it's dopamine, but it really sucks you in. It's like, this is like reality, but it's like reality 2.0. Like this is reality if we got rid of all the unnecessary weird bits.
Yeah, have you seen his series on trash bags, Ramirez's series? I love those. Those are great.
Oh, the most, and the trash bag ones are absolutely famous.
Black Sack 1, Black Sack 2.
What's one, vegan?
Oh yeah.
vegan trash bag.
Semi-transparent trash bag. Kind of see what's in there.
Oh, it's hilarious. They're hilarious, but the perhaps the most famous one he did was the purses. And the great thing about Chuck's stuff is that he's like Man Ray. He's like Paul Duchamp. His stuff is really simple. Like there's nothing complex about what he does. He just takes it looks incredibly simple. He just takes a camera and then puts funny names on things. Oh. But they're very weird, and there's a real sense of, and you can read about him, and you can read about his life and where he grew up and all that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating. But the best ones, far and away, are the women's purses. He takes women's handbags and opens them up, and then very carefully arranges like the wallet and the chewing gum.
Purse
portraits are mind blowing because it's completely voyeuristic.
Yes.
And your audio just went up a significant amount, just FYI. Oh, maybe it's me. I think it may be me stepping on my own volume control here. But purse portraits are magnificent. And again, it's that feeling that you're looking at like a still life from the 1500s.
Right.
It looks like a casual thing, like somebody just put down a bowl of fruit and a bunch of flour. Actually, this is probably incredibly boring to everybody's listening because we're talking about visual art, but I thoroughly recommend to everybody who's listening, check out Chuck Ramirez. There's something there for everybody. He's a really human being too, and his photographs embody a lot of things that sort of were stirring within his head and within his heart. He's a really interesting guy. Purse Portraits is fabulous.
I'm looking at the Ruiz Healy Art Museum website and their focus on Chuck Ramirez, and there's a lot there. It's a well-designed website too. You can really get a lot from it.
Yeah, the one of the first ones he did was HEB sells bouquets, cut flower bouquets, but very specific types of bouquets, which are I don't know if this happens in Massachusetts or New York. I haven't seen up here. I think it's very, very specific to that part of America, that part of the world, is that these are flowers that have been grown with colored water. So they're basically just white daisies, but they're these like neon pink and neon yellow and they're very festive looking. They're very colorful flowers. And then they put into bouquets and people take them to like bring to people who are in the hospital to make them feel better. And what he did, and you walk into any HEB, they got tons of these. And the great thing is he took the ones that were just starting to fade, that were just starting to go bad. And again, it's that feeling. You look at this thing and it's just, there's so many things intersecting in that one photo. It could be that it's just being a smart ass. You're just making some kind of stupid remark about mortality. And I think maybe there's 2% of that in it, but it's also like, it's about being in Texas.
Pinatas, peas.
Oh, the pinatas, the brooms.
Fruit cocktail is one of my favorites. There's something so repulsive about it. And yet festive.
But there's heart there, and I don't think. Yeah, and I think, and so anyway, this is very self-indulgent of us.
No, this is great. No, thanks for bringing this up. Candy trays. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can really dive in here. I'm going to stop.
And then there's the very famous one. I'm not going to stop. There's a very famous one where all you see are these square blocks of wood, these weirdly shaped square blocks of wood, and with weird writing on them. And I was very proud of myself. I figured out what they were.
I see it.
It's not at all obvious what they are, but because he's very much about like the Hispanic culture in San Antonio. And when you go to the HEB in San Antonio, there's things on the shelves that you don't see in Syracuse, New York. It changes. It's really, it's a different vibe, and there's different things. So when I saw those, I was like, are those? And it's like, yep, that's what they are. Have you figured out what they are yet?
And
the last listener
Yeah, sorry.
clicks off their
I
podcast player.
No, I'm not going to sit here and try and figure this out.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
They're pedestals for religious figurines. They're pedestals
I never would have
for
gotten that. Oh, my
statues
goodness.
of like saints, I think.
Of course. Santa Hanette, Santa Cynthia. They have the names of the saints that they're for.
Yeah, and I think he was very deeply affected by his grandmother, who was very devout, and I think he himself was gay, and so there's kind of a tension there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm speaking from memory from like 10 years ago, so I'm
pedestal without the statue.
Yeah, really, really, it's a lot of it is like much like the still lives from the Renaissance and from the early time. A lot of it's about mortality. A lot of it is about the passage of time and the fading of beauty. But he's so funny. He has such a wicked sense of humor. And the great thing about it, and he has that great thing, which I love about punk music and certain artists, is that you look at that picture and you're like, yeah, I know what you did here. I could have done that too.
Right.
All you did is just took the trays that are left over after everybody eats the candies out of the Brockman's box. You just took the plastic tray and you photographed it. That's all you did. And that's true. That's all he did.
Right.
But
still,
that's what being an artist is all about. Yeah, it's a box with 6 strings and you just move your fingers over the frets and you strum this other hand and you say some words out like, yeah, that's what it is. And a little more besides that too. And it's just great watching. He's an ass-kicking photographer, obviously. He knows how to light things very precisely. He knows.
Yeah, it's the lighting. A lot of it is the lighting and the way he emphasizes the colors. I'm looking at 7 Days Super Bowl at Lloyd's.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because you get a sense of the people who were there, what they like to eat. Yeah.
And the weird brands and like all the stuff you're like, what? What's that soda? And they're eating that, and everything. The colors are just completely not completely stomach churning, but it feels. That's the great thing about art is that you look at that, and you know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
but you can't understand why you're reacting this way to that picture, and you have to figure it out, and you've got to decipher it. And that's the great thing is when you look at something like that, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what this is. But it doesn't feel like that at all.
Right.
There's something else going on here, much like Perfect Days.
Yeah.
It's just a guy waking up and going to work. Come on.
Pretty much. I mean, I was trying to think. His relationship with the trees is beautiful. And at one point, another character asks him, is that tree your friend? And he takes a long time, it takes a long time to say yes, And then there's something about also this unspoken relationship with the other woman who always has lunch at the same time.
I loved her. Loved her.
We only see it once or twice, but the unspoken relationship with the monk.
Right.
Who looks at him kind of like, are you going
to take another one?
Yeah.
And they don't say anything. He just points and the monk nods.
Yeah.
It's great. And I love, and again, you have that obsessive attention to how the faces, that woman's face, it borders on the comical, but she's beautiful.
Yeah.
You can tell. I mean,
and it's sad. And he doesn't really, anyway, yeah. You can see his thought process.
And the same with the monk. The monk looks exactly like somebody.
Right. And the interaction with the monk is really quick, but also powerful. You have someone here who's the embodiment of all the things the monk should be practicing, and probably is. But the way the monk stands is very different than the way Hirayama stands, and the way Hirayama acts. And after coming off of our study of Buddhism, that relationship between the monk and Hirayama is just I don't know. It's very quick, but it's really powerful.
But it's done beautifully, just
It
like
is.
Chuck Ramirez. I mean, it's just the best art is where it's just like, oh, that's easy to do. You know, it feels like nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's a normal interaction. Then you realize later, you know, I can take a camera and I could do this all day and I won't get anything approximating what Wim Wenders did in like what must have been 3 seconds
Yeah.
max.
I mean, who knows how many times he shot each scene,
but I mean, the final product is just like he looks to the he looks to the monk, and then he looks at the sapling.
Yep.
Looks back at the monk, and the monk nods, and then he goes over. And I love that pulls a little thing out of his jacket. So obviously he does this all the time.
He's ready. With a little newspaper container for the sapling, so he can
a
take
little
it home
origami
point.
A little or tiny origami flower pot.
Yeah, it's an astoundingly good film.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Is that great? Okay. roll the end credits. Yeah.
But
so did you manage to watch
Wings of Desire?
Any chunk of it?
Yeah, I didn't make it all the way through Wings of Desire. I made it about a half an hour in, and then I just couldn't stand it anymore. I don't know what it was about that. Right? So a day has gone by. We're picking up from where we left off. We were talking about the origami holder for the tree in Perfect Days. But yes, I did. But last night I lay down and it was like, how do I not fall asleep to this film? This it's just this angel guy like looking, listening. Ooh, she's interesting. Okay. I mean, that's what I made it to. Right. She's interesting. And the interaction between the two angels was maybe the high point at that. They meet in a diner and they meet in somebody's car in a dealership, and they talk about what they've observed in human beings. And it's unclear to me at that point in the film why they're being asked to do that. Why are they on this assignment? I think also it seems like neither of them is all that into the assignment either.
Yeah,
they're bored.
I don't want to say they're bored. You have to watch the rest of the film. It really is tedious. And there really are some stretches where it's like, this is what happens when people read too much Kant. You know, it's just like, you know, Schopenhauer. It's just like, guys, really, we got to like throttle it back. That's a much younger Wim Wenders. That's Wim Wenders in 1987.
Absolutely.
Or something
and you
like
can tell a little bit. And the way the thoughts are written, the thoughts, like the way he writes the thoughts of the people, because we're not listening to what they say so much as what they think. And the way he writes what they think is sort of akin to like a Jean-Paul Sartre. You know, it isn't very much like the way people think.
Yeah.
You know,
I felt no kinship to what was supposedly going through people's heads because they're sort of like existential crises.
Right. Everyone's having a really deep level philosophical conversation with themselves. And, you know, it's not really always what people are thinking. They're more like, wait, did I get the eggs? Did I get the eggs? Oh, crap.
Yeah. Ow, my eye.
Oh, I need the heavy cream. Do I have to go back? I could use milk. No. Yogurt. I could use yogurt. I don't have any nutmeg. Oh, this is going to be a disaster. Whatever. I'll wing it. Maybe we'll order pizza. It isn't like I see the other and the other sees me.
Yeah.
I am the other and the other is not me. Where am I?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But I think what's interesting is the visual tone, the beauty of it and the staging of it, and how, so, you know, again, it's that whole sense of, you know, they're very sparse, like it's very carefully controlled.
Yeah.
And it's really, so you can see like where he's coming from, and you can see a lot of connections with Perfect Days in the sense that obsession with faces and facial geometries and profiles and things like that, and so forth and so on. Yeah. So that's our Wim Wenders.
And I still want to rewatch Paris, Texas. I think a lot of these are on HBO Max, so I think I can. I paid for the other two because they're newer, but I think I can get the others for free. And I remember liking Paris, Texas a whole lot when I saw it the first time.
It's a good movie. It has
yeah.
chunks of like Wings of Desire in it. Like there's some parts in Paris, Texas where people talk for a very long time. Yeah. But it's a cool movie. It's very interesting. It has that same kind of cool vibe. Like it never gets out of hand. It never gets really violent or anything like that. It's very sort of, again, just sort of a cool vibe to it.
Yeah.
And also the funny thing was watching all these films. So I watched that, and I also watched, what kicked off this whole thing? So I watched, for some reason, when I watched Perfect Days, it said, "Hey, do you want to watch Cafe Baghdad?"
Oh yeah.
Or I think so. I watched Cafe Baghdad, and I watched Paris, Texas, and so I was basically reconstructing like the Sleepy Hollow playlist from 1988, because the Sleepy Hollow playlist was "I Am Calling You," the song from Baghdad Cafe.
Okay.
It was the soundtrack, the Ry Cooder soundtrack to Paris, Texas.
Right. I remember that.
There's that one. It was the Blue Nile, and it was Pink Floyd's Grantchester Meadows, and anything that Nick Drake came within 100 miles of. That was like the classic.
There was Nick Drake. Nick Drake in Wings of Desire. I'm always on the fence with Nick Drake. I'm not sure where I stand on his lyrics. I like the whole sound and style.
What about Wings of Desire? Nick Drake's in Wings of Desire?
I'm sorry, not Nick Drake. No, totally different. Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds.
Oh, well,
Wings of Desire, and I'm like, I don't know. It was an interesting song choice. I didn't really quite get it, but it was something she was playing, I think, in her trailer. I don't know. I just thought it was a weird choice.
Yeah. That's not Sleepy Hollow stuff. I don't think Nick Cave stuff was.
Nick Drake, definitely Sleepy Hollow stuff.
Yeah, that was the Sleepy Hollow playlist. Okay, so what are we going to talk about next? Well, do you have something funny to relate?
What's interesting? I was just making a quiche, and today was insane. I picked up my glasses. I dropped off the Bose system at Dan's place because I had used it. You know, we had talked about in the first half of the show, I was talking about that wonderful Bose system. And I went shopping, and then I picked up my glasses, which are pretty awesome. And then not these, but the ones that I wear kind of day to day, the progressives. And then I came home and like did a little work, and then I went to the dentist, and I came back and cooked a quiche, and here I am. And while I was cooking the quiche, I decided I would put on Madness. Do you remember the band Madness? And obviously Our House came up. And it's funny, though. I think Madness is much more timeless than the Specials. There's something about the production, maybe, or the arrangements. It's actually really interesting.
Did they do Last Boat to Cairo?
I don't remember. I didn't make it that far. But there was a song that came on after Our House in the Middle of Our Street that was, I thought, really, really good. And I now can't. Of course, it was so good, I can't remember it.
Yeah, I recently watched a video. I'm not sure why. Night Boat to Cairo. A ridiculous video. Really cool. Really cool. It sounds good. I mean, it's interesting at our age. You can go back and listen to stuff. And it's funny how some stuff is like, oh yeah,
yeah,
no, that's good. I liked it back then. I don't like it anymore.
Now. Yeah. But you know what it is? It's Welcome to the House of Fun. That song is kick ass.
They sound
really cool. Really cool song.
And I was listening to some other song of Madness that I really, really, really liked. I can't remember what it is.
They're like XTC a little bit. You know, the compositions are they sound super poppy and simple, and then you listen a little carefully, and you're like, wait a minute, they just changed time signatures, they dropped a bar. They're messing around a lot. It's really cool. It's not a straight ska band, you know. They're a lot more creative. So
who did Mirror in the Bathroom?
That was not the Specials. That was Oh God, I listened to that. That was like every dance, every high school dance was Mirror in the Bathroom. Ah, I'm just gonna kick myself when I see the band name. English Beat.
Is it?
English Beat was like constant in high school. English Beat and Early Police.
The Beat. I guess they must have renamed themselves. Yeah, English
I would listen
Beat.
to them again, but I have listened to Mirror in the Bathroom. I think I played it for my kids. I was like, this is stuff that I was listening to when I was your age, and it sounds dated. Unlike Madness. Madness is the production is like, I don't know. It's also the arrangement and the composition.
Yeah. Cool. For whatever reason, I can't remember right now, but like 4 months ago, I was listening to a bunch of the tunes. I thought, man, these sound really good. Where was I when these guys were first around?
Yeah.
I've talked before on this show about how it's surprising how songs you never really cared much about, and then you hear them coming through the overhead speakers,
right? Exactly, the grocery store, the oldies.
Like, and then all of a sudden you hear these tunes, and you're like, man, that sounds really good. That song has held up really well. Like The Cure. There's a couple of songs by The Cure that sound fabulous.
The Police were amazing. They were a trio. They sounded so huge for a trio.
The first two albums, yes. But anything after that,
I mean, like Synchronicity, when they went off the rails.
I cannot stand it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Every Breath You Take. That's just a creepy song, and I think Sting meant it to be a creepy. I think he was interviewed about it. It was like, I don't know why everybody likes that song.
It's about
really
stalking,
creepy,
which is what Roxanne's about in a slightly milder form. So we're not going to go there.
He was writing these unreliable characters. He was not writing romance songs.
No.
But I love that. I mean, early on, he was more straightforward. So Lonely is definitely about him, and Man in a Suitcase, obviously about him being on tour and stuff like that. But and I love Mother. I think Mother's hilarious.
It's funny, but
it is sort of a Ringo Starr song, not really.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. It's like, but some of that those first two albums are magnificent. Those first two albums are magnificent.
Absolutely.
And every tune holds up on those first two albums. But
Revelation, I think, it was something that it was like, I'd never heard it. I'd never heard something like that before. And it was that mixture of the mixture of ska and sort of singer-songwriter. It was really amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, what else? What else is going on that's worthy of note?
That I haven't already been talking about. No, I've gone over everything. I've told you all about, my insomnia with this guy, Batcolite. He's going to be posting on YouTube so that somebody can at least try it out during the daytime. But I still maintain there are moments in that live on TikTok that are truly profound, where literally somebody comes on thinking that they know what they believe and discovering that they don't. That's a heavy moment. And there's not a lot of people who are willing to go there. It's the rare person that's like, yeah, I have a strong belief. Let me tell you all about it. And then Thrail asks just the right question. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, yeah, that doesn't work. And then they you hear them like, I got to think about that, or they end up with, I don't know. It's kind of amazing, I think. That's a whole community too. They have a Discord and they hang out. There's I've joined a little online friends group. I'm like a teenager. I don't care. I don't judge me however you want.
No,
judge me.
Look, if you dig it, you dig it.
I dig it. I have sort of my lonely little group online. And of course this podcast, I actually have a lot of groups. Mm-hmm. But that has been really interesting. I can't seem to convince a single person to try it out, but for me, it's really fun. Gosh, what else? The only other thing is I do have a CD release party. My CDs are ordered, and they'll be arriving. A small number of them will be arriving November 10th, and then December 6th. I have a CD release party in the Community Church, First Community Church of Boston, Community Church of Boston. I should look that up. I just booked it today with Dean Stevens, who we should really do. Community Church of Boston. We should have him on the podcast. That is in the same building as a museum dedicated to Sacco and Vanzetti. And it's a very radical church. So it's a very politically active church community. It's there's amazing photos of all of the certainly of Sacco Vanzetti and a lot of other political activists on the walls. So I think it'll be really cool and appropriate. And it's right downtown. It's on Boylston Street across from not the Common, but the little park on the church on like Clarendon and Dartmouth. I forget the name of that park. Anyway, it's by the library. It's near the library.
Yep.
The big one.
BCPL or BPL.
Yeah, the BPL. That says, it's inscribed on the top, the Commonwealth requires the education of the people to ensure the security of the state, something like that. Yeah, which is an interesting inscription. So there's that. I'm sure I'm missing something.
Well, what I've been doing is, I'm not exactly sure why. I may have read something about some kind of anniversary or something, but I've been rereading The Guns of August by Barbara Tuchman.
Whoa. Okay.
And I got to tell you, it was a great idea because, you know, you and I, we've read a whole bunch of books in like the last, since doing this podcast.
4 years?
Rory O'Sullivan, and we read Worn, books about clothing, books
Uprooted.
about work, Uprooted. Well, Uprooted's, and we read a lot of books that we didn't like, and we read a lot of books we kind of half liked.
The Ego Tunnel was my least favorite book of all of the ones we read. But yeah.
I don't even remember the Ego Tunnel.
The Ego Tunnel was like, his whole premise is that the self is, that consciousness is an illusion.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Kind of a problem with that. Not
a good way to lead with.
No.
But the interesting thing is that when you reread Barbara Tuchman's Guns of August, it blows everything away.
Wow. Like,
her sentences are to die for. Like, I've even read, who's the guy now?
I have to read it.
The darling who wrote the book called The Wager. He's the guy who wrote The Devil in the White City, I think. There's a couple of people who are really, really powerful, very well respected, and really popular historical writers right now.
Eric Larson.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sure he's a lovely man and his books are okay, but I'm telling you, it's just amazing to see somebody who can craft a sentence like that. And she does it over and over and over again. And it's hilarious. It's a hilarious book. She just has these incredibly convoluted statements that are basically just making riotous fun of people. She says, and then the British government engaged in the one activity that strikes the greatest fear into it throughout all the centuries of its existence, making a decision. She goes like that. And then she talks about the Germans, and you can tell there's no love lost between her and the Germans. And she just savages them, but in a really funny and really, 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 really entertaining way. And she makes fun of everybody. And it's really gripping. And it's just amazing to see how she writes sentences. And it's very interesting how she writes sentences because they kind of stumble you.
Yeah.
Like, they're not straightforward. The thing today is to write clear, let's be clear speaking here. Let's write clear declarative sentences. No, not Barb.
Not her.
Barb is putting together these little like origami puzzles of sentences that slow you down just enough that you've really got to unpack it. You've got to, because she's moving clauses around. She's not doing, subject, verb, object. She's putting a lot of stuff in there, but not so much that it's impenetrable.
I got to read it. I mean, I'm now closing in. I've finally figured out the end of my trilogy, and I've been working with Dan Lehman Kennedy as my editor, and I want to be a better writer. The next book I write, I want it to be better. And so reading a really great author like that is really helpful. Like going back and reading Faulkner is also helpful. But yeah, I'd like to read that.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we've talked about this before, but is J.K. Rowling a great author?
No.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, just in terms of sheer success.
Yeah.
And in terms of the sheer inventiveness of her ideas.
Her vision is amazing.
Is amazing. And the world that she creates is amazing and stuff like that.
But her writing is not good.
But her sentences are not I can't tell you. I don't remember any sentences.
Emily St. John Mandel, I believe, writes a beautiful sentence, as does Naomi Novik. I mean, those are my two favorites in terms of the ones we've read, in terms of just pure style.
Yes, Naomi, she's a bit like Barr. She has a very dry and very wicked sense of humor underneath stuff. She's a wry observer, and she's good.
The writer of oh darn it, and also very, very wildly popular book, Katniss Everdeen.
The Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. Also,
I never read those.
Amazing vision. Writing's not great.
Right. And so and that's not a slam. It really isn't. It's just that there's different types of great writing.
Yeah.
There really is. And you need them all, because they become sort of oppressive after a while if you just sort of gorge on one type. And the great thing is that when you go to Barb, you're getting that thing where it's just, you got the macro, but you've also got the micro. And each sentence... What?
No. I mean, finish that sentence. Okay, no, I just interrupted. The quiche is done. I've got to take it out and let it cool, and I'll come back.
Fuck your quiche.
Yeah, I know. Fuck your quiche. Let it burn. Let it burn. I'll be right back. And by the way, it's fucking beautiful, this quiche.
Did you make it by hand, or did you purchase it assembled?
I made it by hand.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't roll the dough. I got some pre-made pie dough, but not a pie crust, right? And not pressed into some stupid tinfoil bullshit. I got the dough that was rolled out already, and I put it in my pie pan, and then I sauteed some leeks. And I sauteed some pancetta and some sun-dried tomatoes and a little spinach. And then I poured that in the pie crust. And I poured the eggs with the cream and the nutmeg and the salt and pepper. And I put some, I didn't have Gruyere, I put some Swiss cheese on top.
Wow.
I threw that in the oven for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? It should have been, I was 32 minutes, but it should have been 30. But you were like going on and on about that fucking author. Whatever, it's still gorgeous. Anyway. This is going to get an explicit now. All right, fine.
That's fine. Whatever. But it's just interesting. It's really nice. Much of the same way that, like, watching Wim Wenders films, it's like, oh, wow. Oh, so this is how you can make a movie. I really forgot that movies like this exist. And then you read Barbara Tuchman, you're like, oh, wow. I forgot that people actually wrote like this.
Yeah. And she just writes history only?
Yeah. Yeah. I've read a whole bunch of her stuff. It was the Guns of August was her first actual really sort of book for the public. She had written 2 previous books that were really for small audiences and stuff like that. And they sort of gathered a little bit of interest. Then she wrote Guns of August, which was a huge hit. And it was a huge hit to begin with. And then John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, read it and insisted that everybody in his administration get a copy of it and that they read it too. And that just sent it right into the stratosphere. And I remember my dad having that book around, the exact cover, the exact same cover, which is,
it's famous.
It's like the tinted calendar of August, and it has like the little pictures of people through like a red filter. It's a very distinctive cover, and it's something that I remembered from being a kid that my dad had that around.
Nice.
My dad had that, and he also had the Arms of Krupp, which was sort of like the other, like everybody re-examining the First World War. And all that kind of stuff. But she wrote a lot of books. She wrote The March of Folly. She wrote A Distant Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Which is about the 1300s. She wrote a
that got her in some trouble, right? I mean,
a lot of her books got her. Yeah. She was never beloved of the academic historical community. She was not an academic historian. She was not a PhD. I don't think she was. I
think I did read A Distant Mirror, and there were a couple of authors at that time that were kind of deconstructing the Middle Ages and really taking all the romance out, taking all the fun out of the Middle Ages.
Out of the Middle Ages, right. No, they didn't have tankards of ale.
Right, it wasn't.
Oh, you bastards. Of course
it's not the cosplay version.
No, it's not.
It's the missing teeth and diarrhea version.
It's more bring out your dead from from the Holy Grail.
And that's the king,
Why is he a king? Because he doesn't have shit all over him. Right?
Yeah. No, we might as well take care of it. I mean, we can exploit the
we're in for a penny, in for a pound. So you might as well just lay into it. The one I love, the books I love is when you start with some little thing and you don't really know where it's going.
Yeah.
And what she wrote The First Salute.
Oh.
And The First Salute is really interesting because what it's about is about how in 1778 or something like that, a ship sailed into the Caribbean port of some Dutch colony. I forget exactly what. And raised up the new flag of the United States. And the Dutch commander of the port did a salute, fired the cannons off, and recognized the flag. And so the Netherlands became the first country to recognize the United States as an independent country. And you're like, okay, where are we going with this, Barb? And what she does is it's really fascinating. She goes back and she shows how if you really want to understand where the American Revolution came from, you have to go all the way back to the Dutch rebellion against the Spanish Habsburgs. And that's where it really begins. Is that you have a smaller country against a greater power, and they just stick to it, and they just don't give up, and they just keep fighting, and they keep fighting, and they keep fighting, and then they win.
Yeah.
And she talks about the colors were red, white, and blue, and she talks about how the writings and the laws that were passed, how they filtered down
the religious tolerance at the time. I mean, they changed, but no, it's a little like if you're reading the first quarter, let's say, of the book New York by. I'm not remembering anything today.
Well, that's okay. It's fine.
But it's a giant 800-page history of the city of New York, and it starts with the Dutch. And you realize, this was it started out not really a city, but it does involve a lot of the Dutch history of the time in the 1600s. And you do get a sense of, well, first of all, they're an economic superpower. They're they mastered the banking and the money and trade in a way that the other countries couldn't keep up.
Is that a good? You mentioned that before. I should really get that.
I would just read the first quarter. I mean, see if you want to go further. But I mean, and it's written by. Now I actually have to look it up. But
okay.
I was blown away simply by the account of the first boats that encountered the Lenape. The First Nations, the Lenape people, that meeting of cultures says a lot, and I cannot for the life of me find the author here. But
is it a recent book?
It's fairly recent. Past
And it's big.
20
It's just
years.
called New York?
New York, yeah.
Okay. I'll check it out.
I'll just confirm this in a second. It's further down my list. Past the ego tunnel. We've read a lot of books, man.
We've read a lot. Wow. We've begun a lot of books. There's a lot of books where I read like a third of the way into it and gave up.
Yeah, well, some of it is.
But there's a lot of
painful.
books. Yeah, there's a lot of books we don't. The Mathematical Universe by, I shouldn't say it because that was one of Ben's favorite books, but I got tired of that one too.
Yeah.
A lot of books.
I don't know. Maybe it's not in my, could they have like pulled it from my.
Do I have to do this now? Let me see.
I don't know. I have to do just a search.
You sure it's not called Gotham?
Oh, it is called Gotham. It's not called New York. It's called Gotham.
That's what I thought.
Let me see. I guess I have to search in my search library. Gotham. Where is it? Gotham: A History of New York. Mike Wallace. Edwin G. Burroughs and Mike Wallace.
That's a book we're talking about. Is Gotham?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get a copy of that because I really should check it out since I moved to New York.
Yep.
Should learn about it.
I only have 49 hours and 12 minutes left in the audiobook, so I've made it pretty far. It's more than 800 pages. It's massive.
Yeah.
But they go into, I mean, actually the stuff about Peter Stuyvesant's very interesting.
Yeah.
Peter Stuyvesant comes along and is like, we need this to be a city. It's a trading post. It needs to be a city. It's too big.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I'll read it. I was reading Barbara and I'm only a third of the way through it. And I thought, wow, this is a commitment. But yeah, Barbara wrote a lot of books. March of Folly was very famous. Stillwell, The American Experience in China. The March of Folly is an interesting book. It's not considered one of her better ones, but it's fairly clear about what she thinks, as if it's not clear enough from Guns of August, which is that people are really stupid. And people think they're in control of events and they're not. Yeah. And that when you have something like a war going on, her big thing is it all comes down to character, the character of people. Character is fate. And she talks about how there's this one, it's actually a very famous chapter in her book. And what it's about is it's about like the very first, at this point, it's the very first days of World War I, like literally the first day or the second day.
Yeah.
And one of the things the Germans realize they have to do is they have to bring the Ottoman Empire in on their side in the war. And everybody had been sort of ignoring the Ottoman Empire. And the Germans say, we got to bring these guys in. And so what happened was they had these two battleships in the Mediterranean. And they were going around like blowing stuff up. And the captain of the ship was very happy, like bombarding French cities in North Africa. And then and this is the first time you have radio now. So he got a radio signal from Berlin saying, haul your ass to Constantinople this very moment. Drop whatever you're doing and go as fast as you can to Constantinople. And what was happening was that sort of the British and the Germans were sort of wooing the Ottoman Empire. And he's in command of one of the most powerful battleships in the world. I mean, he's basically unstoppable. And so they sail. And what happens is that the British don't catch on to it. The British are absolutely convinced he's going to try to escape the Mediterranean and get out into the Atlantic. He's going to go past Gibraltar or something like that. And they're all running all over the place. And there's mixed messages and people can't make their minds up in London. And somebody sends the wrong telegram to this. It's unbelievable. It's such a mess. And the problem is that the Germans are successful. And by about 4 hours, they get there first. And they get to Enver Pasha, who's the head of the Ottoman Empire. They basically force him to agree because they've basically got like a nuclear submarine in the harbor there. And they're like, hey, dude, you gotta come in with us. Otherwise, what we need to do is, because what the Germans really wanted to do was they wanted to cut off Russia's access to warm water ports, because the Russians, 90% of Russia's trade went through Constantinople and out through the Mediterranean. And now with the Germans, with these huge warships, they bottled up all of Russia's stuff. And as everybody agrees, including Winston Churchill, who was the Lord of the Admiralty at the time, this single simple slip cost countless lives and probably added years to the war. Because they failed to stop this battleship from going one place. And you have this, and it's just this, it's this absolutely nerve-wracking thing. And people get all bent out of shape, and people start ranting about things. No, I'm not going to go over there because I know he's going to go over here. Oh, we forgot. Oh, yeah, our boiler tubes, they're breaking. We can't make 24 knots. We can only make 20 knots. You can't catch the ship at that. I mean, it's one of those things where you just go completely insane reading this. It's like for want of a nail, the kingdom fell.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm almost done. But another great thing, and maybe we've discussed it before, is when is he going to stop? Yeah, the same thing happens when you study the Battle of Midway. It's amazing how much was handed to us, the United States.
Yeah.
Like we had intelligence that basically told us exactly where the Japanese fleet was going to be at what time. And we nearly blew it like 5 separate times. And it was only by the sheerest, it was really, a good part was due to a submarine called the Nautilus, because the submarine called the Nautilus stumbled upon the Japanese fleet, shot at some ships, and the ships but the ships in this little subfleet had to race off to join the main Japanese fleet, but they left one ship behind to hunt for the submarine, and they couldn't kill the submarine. And finally, the America's planes got lost. We sent waves of planes, and the key air group that would finally sink all the aircraft carriers got lost. And then all of a sudden, they see this lone Japanese cruiser like hauling ass towards the north. And the guy who said, I think it was McCluskey, the guy who saw him said, "We're going after that ship." And they said, "We don't have enough gasoline to get back to he says, "I don't care." He said, "I think the Japanese are where that guy's going, and this is our one chance." And they did. And that's when they sunk all the aircraft. I'm graphically oversimplifying things enormously, but the sort of like Barbara Tuchman's thing, it's amazing how so much hinges on just radically bizarre luck. So that's why I like reading this, and I find it gets your heart pounding quite a bit.
I should get it. And you know what? One other thing we might want to try, and let me know if this just sounds like a dumb idea, but what if we read the Tibetan Book of the Dead? Sure. It might be an interesting discussion.
Have you read it before?
I have.
Is it good?
It's good. Yeah, but it gets inside Buddhism. But we also, what I want to do before we do that is look up the origins of the Tibetan Book of the Dead and anything that's written about it first. I don't know when it was written and in what circumstances. That might be worth looking into.
Okay, so that's our homework for next week.
Yeah, I would suggest to research the Tibetan Book of the Dead, kind of see where it comes from.
I'll do that.
Yeah, and then we can decide to do it later.
Okay.
Good.
Got enough. We got enough on the tape reel.
Oh yeah, plenty, more than enough.
Yeah.
Funny Not Funny is produced by Jim Infantino at Slab Media in Boston. Jim Infantino and Lionel Casson are the co-hosts. Our website is funnynotfunny.net. The theme music is from the song Wheel from the album Utopia Revisited by Jim. The opinions presented by the co-hosts are ridiculous and should not be taken seriously by anyone. Our intended audience is literally nobody. If you're listening to this podcast, you should probably pause to reflect on other choices you've recently made. Please do not subscribe or leave a rating or review. It only encourages us to make more. Thanks for listening.